For MKOI, can they find a way to honestly continue to wrestle this early game control away from Fnatic? Because it really does seem to dictate so much of how these games start to play out. Fnatic managing to get off to a great start here in the early stages in game number 2. And now the continued ban sticking to the same with the Zeri and Yunara, red side, coming through for Fnatic. And that Cassiopeia ban would signal a Rise first pick. But again, we're seeing that final Rise ban coming through for red side.
Fish for sure. Okay, with no Yunara up, let's see. We get a priority AD carry here, or maybe a jungler left open the Jarvan early. Yep, okay.
Wow, this opens up for things like Lucian as a possibility. We know that Razork is a really big fan. You can also go for things like the Viego, maybe even Trundle if you want to. Poppy has been banned away, which does make sense because if you want to lock in Jarvan, Poppy's mega annoying to have to deal with. But also Razork could go for a little bit more defensively if he wanted to. Right now it does seem like that the direction is very much that Zhao.
It still though is kind of going back to what you said earlier, Vedius, the opportunity to bring out the Ezreal though for upset. Like, you still have the ways to dash around, or even the Zeri, to be honest. And even though we've seen limited Zeri in the LEC, it has been huge for both Supa and Upset. Upset yesterday taking over double-digit kills by the end of that game. We'll have to see if that's where he wants to try and go for, or if he's happy to throw a few mystic shots as the game goes on.
What will the mid lane direction be? Ooh, Viktor gonna be locked in. Okay, so Poby gonna stick with the traditional control mages. The downside of Viktor is easy target for Jarvan, one could say. But the good news is that when you put that gravity field down, Jarvan likely going to stun himself, trying to hit onto within that ultimate. So KOI are going to need some good follow-up alongside this Jarvan in order to make some good stuff happen. Looks like bot lane might be the direction that they're thinking about. Is Zeri going to be the lock-in? What mid laner will they look to try and pair alongside this? A lot of options for Jojo as he explores through. You want something that can pair up nicely with the Jarvan. I saw that Syndra hover. I think both Ahri and Syndra are actually both solid matchups into the Viktor and also just provide him with great setup as well. But he's just filtering through a large number of champions, and they're not even going to go for a mid laner. Instead, going to be that support. Alvaro going to be getting his hands on the Nautilus.
Now, do we round this out for Fnatic with the Ezreal, just to continue Upset having some sort of safety net for what is a lot of pressure that is going to be going towards him with the point and click on both Jarvan and Nautilus? Or are they just like, no, we need to try and solidify ourselves into the support matchup? Because I think that's where you are going to start to struggle as this goes on, is the limited pool that can answer into the Nautilus.
Makes sense.
Ooh.
Easily.
Yeah, the problem is, we saw it from KC yesterday, when you have a Braum, you need strong engage elsewhere, otherwise you basically act as a passenger. You become very reliant on your opponents being the ones to force things and then you being allowed to react. But depending on how strong the engage is, Braum might not necessarily be enough to stop the opposition from just running the map rampant and doing whatever it is that they want to do. So Braum can be an excellent pick into hard engage compositions, but I do think you need some reliable form of engage yourself outside of just a Zhao diving in by himself.
Yeah, I think the idea for Fnatic is, look, there's still things like the Scion we can take in the top side. There's still other forms of engage we can get through Oscarinin, and we'll be happy enough with that, unless it does get banned away. But we're looking at MKOI taking away things like the Ezreal that we were talking about, those kind of safety nets for Upset. And now we'll have to see what Upset wants to try and go for, because in the grand scheme of things, there's not a huge amount left on the table. And Lefty wants to go for the Sivir and try and just spell shield the initial Cataclysm damage, but he'll still be caught in the cage.
The Vayne ban. Bit of respect being given to Upset, but a champion that we haven't seen a huge amount so far in the LEC playoffs, but does have that inherent mobility, is the Lucian, the hover coming through. But Fnatic just kind of playing with their options right now. I feel like that's the direction. Lucian Braum is something we saw very prevalent in the LCK through a lot of summer, has been very popular throughout the world. And I think it's just a duo that provides you with fantastic skirmishing potential.
Yeah, but you did see the 0 wins, 8 losses that popped up after that. It has not been a strong LEC pick. And one Mr. Daniel Dracos is not a big fan of either. So I think a lot of work on Fnatic to make this Lucian work, where you're able to pair alongside of it strong skirmishes, get off to early leads, and try and use that culling effectively in the mid game.
Oh, now Jojo's Ziggs is something that we have seen him really pilot beautifully. It was a champion I wasn't expecting out from him the first time that we saw it, but his use of the bombs, the way that he follows up on engages, has just been exceptional to watch. And I think that it's a really good control mage pick. And now, rounding out with the K'Sante means that they've got a very traditional front-to-back style of composition, with Nautilus and Jarvan being your primary engage tools. Good scaling from the Ziggs and the Zeri means that these neutral objectives, they're going to be violent.
What's Oscar going to take into the top lane to deal with this tank? The Vayne ban obviously targeted in some regard.
I think you just go for the Scion. I think just plunk a tank into that top side, make it nice and simple. You still got decent engage. Actually going to be the Yorick, okay. Yeah. So very, very limited on the engage, essentially hoping that, look, there's enough people that are short range on MKOI that they'll have to play into a Fnatic effectively, and you can get your CC off that way, but always a little bit of a risky strategy when you try and opt in towards it.
Yeah, so the problem with Fnatic's comp is, let's say KOI is second to an objective. Fnatic has started off the Dragon. You're dealing with Ziggs bombs, you're dealing with Zeri poke. At any point, a hook could come through from the Nautilus. And how do you stop it? How do you stop Ziggs from just harassing you with his constant poke? And my answer to that is, I don't see a good answer to it. You're relying on maybe a Braum Q connecting, Zhao finding a nice flank. Like, I think it's going to be quite difficult as long as KOI play patient around these neutral objectives. And that's my biggest concern for me when you go for these very limited engage drafts.
That's the thing. It kind of feels like this was nearly wanted to be a 1-3-1 composition, but then you got Viktor in there. And it's like, oh, maybe we can try and play for side lanes, and you can try and play, even if, like, say this Viktor was a Twisted Fate, I'd be like, oh, okay, now I understand what the angle of attack is here for Fnatic. But I 100% agree with you, Vedi. It feels like you're kind of lacking setup for the Viktor. You're lacking the ability to gap close on towards MKOI. And MKOI have just got a much better all-rounded composition that enables the carries in both lanes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the game 3. The odds are equal. The draft concerning for Fnatic. But let's see if they get their early game off the ground. That 2v2, mega important. Those lanes are scaling, but I mean, Oscar, if he plays weak side in this game, he might be a useless Yorick in comparison to Myrwn. It's been good so far. It's been a good series. Now we're going to see who moves to match point.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Hysterics. It's been an interesting series so far. A dominant game 1 for MKOI. A convincing game 2 from Fnatic. Now here in game 3, I do favor what KOI have brought to the table with their draft. But Fnatic have shown us all sorts of things so far at this at this playoffs, I should say, rather.
True.
And let's see if they can shine. And I'm very much keeping my eyes on this bot lane matchup. Upset and Mikyx, Lucian, Braum. It's a scary, scary combo to play into, just because of how easily Lucian can proc that Braum passive and set up for Razork to make an easy gank.
That's scary if Supa isn't going to lane into it. Again, MKOI opted into the same strategy we saw from Fnatic in the last game of just avoid the matchup entirely. So Myrwn and Alvaro just going to try and farm it out for a couple of minutes until we eventually get the lane swaps. And I think this is perfect for MKOI.
Yeah.
Oscarinin wants to try and punish this K'Sante, won't get a chance, is taking a heap of damage himself. And you avoid the biggest strengths of this Lucian Braum, which is the early game.
You know, at some point, Riot is just going to have to ban AD carries from the top lane. Yeah. Because it doesn't matter what rules they implement, pros just find a way to break them.
And think about how much top laners are going to rejoice when it's you have range, you can't go top lane. Yeah. That is going to be a celebration for the ages.
Oscar does hit the morning mist, so the shovel comes in hard. And with all the little pandas coming out, Oscar actually gets a pretty good trade.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. AD carries forget that those little pandas are difficult to kill in the early game, especially for an AD carry that doesn't have that much AD early on. Pot already spent by Supa. I know that Razork is on the top side of the map, level 3, full clear top side. He's sending his sights on the Supa.
Thought this was a horrible lane. I'm going to take it back, and even so, as you said, Razork coming in and skirt of vision. Perfect angle. Supa's in trouble. He might have flash, but is it going to matter? He gets in over the wall. Nice terrain hop, but now no flash. And I believe our last sighting of that wave was pretty good for Oscarinin.
Yeah, I mean, now it's quite awkward for Supa, losing out on his flash, but Alvaro...
The roam is really good. A knock-up from Elyoya as well. Razork takes a 1v2 as he now discovers Audacious Charge in, won't matter. Dredge line and Supa yoinks with electricity from afar. Flash, Braum, Winter's bite, unstoppable, not in time. Close to another kill, but Upset doesn't have the damage, and Biscuits are a mini Warmogs.
It started off so well for Fnatic, but MKOI get the kill, and crucially, it's on towards Supa. Takes a little bit of damage there, and Myrwn escapes the bot lane play.
An early gank that goes so well for Fnatic, a team that has done this swap before, and Razork doesn't respect the swap from Alvaro.
Oh, Supa.
Whoa, the Pandas! Okay, he's all right.
He's able to just skirt away at the edge of death. The wave. My goodness, no mana on Oscar is really the saving grace.
I feel like the only thing that Supa's confident in, the fact that he had red buff from the kill, that he can slowly heal this up and stay in EXP range.
Oh yeah. I see him on the minimap, making his way to top lane.
There's Lucian on the way as well. Upset moving into position. Elyoya will be seen on a ward shortly. Gets a scuttle. Oscar's though so deep. And with no mana, how do you get out of there? Supa doesn't get the range on the zap, but he won't need it anyway. Knock into the air. And Fnatic, their game plan as Oscar flashes away. He's tumbling down. He heals up. Alvaro has to get out, but Elyoya still takes down the enemy top laner. Alvaro running for his life. Upset gets one. Now the jump in is good, but Elyoya timing on the cooldowns comes in clutch. 2 for 1 in the game so far for MKOI.
The biggest problem is for Supa. He's just been hovering top lane this entire time, and he's been losing out on XP while all of this is happening. Look, while the gank is happening, sure, he gets a little bit of farm here and there, but the engage happens. I'm kind of surprised Oscar doesn't flash earlier, but ultimately he buys enough time to allow for Upset to arrive, ends up being a 1-for-1. On the bot side of the map, Myrwn's getting a bunch of farm and XP, that's great for him. Yeah. But notice that Supa's still here. Like, he's just kind of been hovering around. I think he misclicks as well, because he also presses his barrier while underneath the tower.
I didn't see that.
A very awkward situation for him as he now finds himself pretty much 2 waves down in farm.
Yeah, and it's going to be Fnatic are very happy as Elyoya costs.
He's got a flag. Winter's bite was really nice there from Mikyx. It's all about this top lane, no matter who's in it. This early game has been ramping up, and gold is somehow even. As you were saying, Betty, it's because Supa got the EXP, but didn't get the gold from the mini lane after getting zoned out. It means top laners are even in CS. But bot laners, not so much. Yeah,
it's the fact that you have that jungle advantage there for Elyoya with the extra kill is kind of keeping them within touching distance, but it is really becoming difficult now for MKOI in this 2v2. This was kind of the focus, and Supa kind of got a little bit of a Hail Mary saving grace with that early kill, because otherwise he would be so far behind.
I'm keeping my eyes on where the junglers are once again. We know how impactful they've been throughout this series.
Wait, static field comes down. Oh, just out of it. Jojo otherwise would have been dead to the Arcane field. Arcane Storm, rather.
Nice trading coming through from Poby.
He's having another good lane. I mean, match up against Dependent.
I mean, Viktor is a massive lane bully, and it's what you need to be doing. You'll see on his champion icon on the right-hand side that he's at 79 stacks out of 100. Once he does get to 100, his wave clear becomes that much scarier. But for Ziggs, he's also a champion that scales really well with levels, getting those points in his queue, and with not that many items under his belt. Like, he can just start clearing waves like a madman. Eventually, this lane is just going to be, I clear wave, I leave, I clear wave, I leave.
And it can be difficult as well for the Ziggs to try and trade back effectively against the Viktor, because so much of how you try and trade with the Ziggs is using those ranged minions to explode your bomb onto the Viktor as well. But because of Viktor's auto attack range, he actually is able to outrange a lot of that, and makes it quite difficult for the Ziggs to really make that play happen. Yep. So Jojopyun having not the best of times. Still though, MKOI trading for Dragon here, and we'll be looking towards Void Grubs in 45 seconds, which is going to be the next one for Fnatic.
We talked about the ability to pull triggers. Having dragons and being able to force neutral objectives, I think, is really important. The little pathmaker from Myrwn. The cats come out once again, sorry, pandas. And the wife is here now. So Oscarinin low on mana, but a little bit more damage to play with. There's his teleport half the way off cooldown. Worth noting if we see another lane swap as Alvaro, this is deep. Mikyx going all in. Concussive blows, one more. Gets wind, becomes lightning on both. Super slowed down as well. Passive, but doesn't go through Alvaro. It resets. He does not get stunned up, and Razork simply zoning out so the Upset can get more gold. Meanwhile, all out on the bottom side. Pathmaker in. Oscar's dead. Myrwn puts one on the tally.
Myrwn gets one back, but it's the bottom lane for MKOI that are struggling to get to the lane.
Winter Spike comes through, stunned up as Alvaro, good engage. No, Razork pops his ulti first. Mega Inferno Bomb does nothing to Mikyx and Elyoya. Thinks, hey, what can I add in? He's got a Cataclysm, doesn't bring it in. Supa flashes away, gets over the wall. But now Jojo's in. His mana's a little bit low. I wonder, flag and drag in. Upset, now in harm's way and still a concussive blow, or rather a Cataclysm to come through. Jojo lucky to be alive. Razork, though, finds a re-entry. Mikyx with an auto will die under the turret. We're going Chaos Incarnate. Razork has nothing to get out of dodge. And Elyoya has it all. Dredgeline max range. And Myrwn's here to claim the glory.
All 5 members of KOI find themselves in the top lane, and that's beautiful timing because the grubs are up for grabs as they convert those kills into an objective, and just like that, KOI swings the momentum in their favor.
They swing parts of the momentum, but wave after wave is down to that top tower as it ends up happening. And you can look at Supa after this, but we're looking at the bottom lane here as Oscarinin. That wall will not save you, but look at that top wave. Like, more and more of this CS is down to the tower. So even though MKOI are trying to operate on, can we get these people into position, they still lose one, they still lose another off the back of this. And it will be, 3 for 2 eventually for Fnatic off the back of this. Or, sorry, 2 for 2 for Fnatic off the back of this. But honestly, Supa is in a terrible position now.
Okay, well, let's see if it gets even worse from here. The 2 kills Zeri, that shouldn't be 2 kills up. Dredgeline saving the day under turret. The dive going horribly. Mikyx dies and Supa does not. The save from Alvaro. These hooks are coming out of left field.
Beautiful play from Alvaro to keep his AD carry alive. They're trying to keep the minion wave away from the tower.
Razork ready, but a Dredgeline in the way again. Razork will ulti, another turret shot almost takes him down. Upset's close to dying as well. Razork's thinking about sending it, but Alvaro, wait, no minion wave. Dredgeline, Mega Inferno Bomb. Alvaro is freaking crazy this game.
KOI are not slowing down. They're constantly looking for fights. They are outplaying Fnatic on the map. The gold lead now 1K. Upset made his way bot lane against Jojo. This is a risky position to be in.
Fight again, kill. It's like an LPL game. There's 12 kills in 10 minutes, and we have just thrown caution to the wind. The defining game in the series. And gentlemen, I don't know who's winning. Help. Hang on, Jojo, Calstom, good satchel charge. Held on by Jojo, he will escape Poby with a level lead. Wanted to take it to him. We'll get a little buzz cut for Jojo's hair on the back end, but Supa, meanwhile, with the grubs, it's finding ease of access with turret plating mid.
But this is the thing, MKOI have done everything they can to not just bandage Supa. He's propped up, he's got a cup of tea, he's reading the newspaper. This man has been set up with a trust fund thanks to MKOI, and now all that lead that Fnatic worked so hard to set up for their AD carry has gone at the window thanks to Alvaro, thanks to these roams from Jojo. And Fnatic now find themselves in a gold deficit almost everywhere.
A 30 CS difference, and the Zeri has the gold lead. It's definitely an outside to see. Looks like, though, we're getting more action here in the bot lane. Mikyx's caught out.
He is indeed. He's bought some time, though, and he has the ulti in his back pocket. The heal is the only thing gone. Elyoya has Cataclysm, too.
Interestingly, Poby choosing to evolve his Q over his E here in the early game.
Oh, yeah, true.
The fact that he doesn't have that extended laser, the fact that he doesn't have that additional wave clear, instead going for the stronger trading tool, definitely a little unconventional here, but getting that extra movement speed may be something that he needs to help survive some of the early Jarvan ganks that we've seen thrown his direction.
Fnatic right now are just not stopping. The constant aggression, trying to find picks out. I feel like they took this comp seriously. They're like, hey, yo, we need to find a lead coming out of these lanes. As we said, bot is already an issue. Poby has a 20 CS lead. And while there is top even Stevens, Myrwn might have solo kills, which is giving him a gold lead, but like, you see Fnatic don't want to slow down. But
it's the crucial breakpoints and items for MKOI with that slight gold lead that is making the difference now. First items almost entirely across the board for MKOI. Nothing apart from that Sundered Sky and Redemption on Fnatic. And with Dragon now spawned, MKOI can fight for pressure on bot, pressure in mid, and look to turn these first items into more
Black and drag into a Dredgeline. We start the fight again. Supa's over the wall, free firing the 3-0. Zeri is a Mega Inferno Bomb. Does nothing because Razork is in the ulti. Cataclysm comes out, max range, so Mikyx hits the perfect icebreaker. And that's how you get in a good social situation as Myrwn now into a cage, in trouble. The Maiden hitting from afar, so close. And there's the Morning Mist, but no cats up and available till now. Myrwn survives only if just.
Myrwn just barely getting out of harm's way. Remember, he did find a solo kill earlier, but just the power of Yorick in the extended fight. The Maiden doing some serious work. But my goodness, Fnatic at the very least getting a kill back, getting their hands on the dragon, definitely alleviates some pressure as Elyoya overstays his welcome in that mid lane. He thinks that he can get a kill onto Mikyx, but the instant flash punish from Mikyx by utilizing his ult was a nice response as KOI find themselves now once again equal on the gold front.
And it's just those little advantages that MKOI could have used there. We just said it, first items across the board, but we get the replay here as MKOI try to go on to Mikyx. He gets the shield up though, which means Supa's damage isn't doing anywhere near as much as it should. He's able to get away from this ultimate from the Ziggs as well. And that flash, it just sends lights out for Elyoya. Again, as Supa just not in a position to follow up.
I feel like Mickey's been playing 2x KO Braum or something, man. That chain combo was gnarly, and you know, hitting the winter spot on the turnaround fade, that was perfect way to seal it. Both supports hitting the clutches as you said before, Vedi Gold is just about even. The turnabout play gives Upset, who still has that 20+ CS lead, a better avenue for gold. He's got his one item and on the way to the second now. 40 seconds till Herald, that's the next turn of play. Fnatic are trying to hold control in top, and I'm going to get rid of some of this vision first and give a bit of priority to Poby again, which I feel like they've been doing all series long.
It's just Fnatic understand they are very strong off of these one-item spikes with the composition that they have. So they're trying to see if they can leverage that into picks, into plays, and they might have found Alvaro as he starts to crest up. Still fishing just for control around this Rift Herald that's about to spawn.
Right, blind dredge line here, he puts out a lens. Mikyx is found. Supa by his side with a cloak of agility alongside the Yuntal. If you can't see it, I apologize. But I mean, look, Alvaro keeps fishing. This is the point, over the wall. Pulls out the Warden's Wrath and gets a range while Oscarinin is going deep. It's Myrwn rather who was proxying before, but Razork's on the right side of the map, slowed down when the wind becomes lightning. A flip back is nice. The all-out will surely be coming soon, but the wall too far. Pathmaker though, Razork still in trouble. That's Cassante. He runs in, Myrwn takes one. He shields out, flies on, flips again. Wait, double Pathmaker. Cassante Myrwn truly is the organic father.
Yesterday belonged to Oscarinin, but Myrwn says today is his day. In a 1v2, he nets the kills, he nets the Rift Herald, and nets MKOI this mid lane.
We've seen Myrwn have Cassante performances before, but with a 2 versus 1, such a massive outplay. The arena erupts as the mid tower falls. The second takes 50% of its HP. MKOI are riding this momentum beautifully.
And this was so well set up. MKOI managing to get the play on the bottom side. Myrwn ends up getting the flick back. As they held off and using the Audacious Charge in the middle of this, the Redemption, perfect to keep him alive. And here, I thought Razork had got enough distance so he doesn't take the damage. But it's the knockback onto Oscarinin gets him the space he needs. The shield just in time to keep him alive. And then the healing from the all-outs.
What a charge! Oh my god, he stood up and he pointed at Oscar. I mean, absolute cojones on that man. Myrwn is 4-0. And while Cassante is one hell of a champion, let me just live it up to the hype of the player behind it. That 1v2 changed the whole state of the game. Not only did Voltaren go down, not only did Big Crush, top is now dead. MKOI with a 3k gold lead, and I think Myrwn single-handedly just broke this.
I mean, it was already hard to kill Cassante before. Lucian isn't really the type of champion that's good at melting through a Cassante's armor. We discussed how, with the limited engage that Fnatic have, if they try to set up around an objective, the amount of poke that can come through from KOI is going to be difficult to deal with. But now there's a side lane threat that they just have no answer for. Myrwn is just this raid boss that can do whatever he wants. And this game is only going to get harder for Fnatic. Dragon spawning in 30 seconds. The resets have come through. MKOI are making a beeline towards the bot side of the map where Myrwn has full control.
It is seldom seen that I think one player can change the pace of a game. And while, yes, MKOI had really a lot of signs of life, gold was quite even. I'm shocked that one player can do so much. And with this Dragon up in 15 seconds, it does feel like those 2 items cross the board are enough for Fnatic to start fearing. Let's see if they just send it anyway, gents, because they've lost so much control in this river. And now he's back again. Mega Blast Cone gets Mikyx out. Oscar, he's back into his shell because he can't step up in this wave.
They're sending Poby topside. Upset is on reset. This is a no contest from Fnatic. They understand that they need to buy themselves some time and hope they can get to a later stage. But at what point does that come? This Yorick is no longer in a position to be the front line that you need. All hands seem to be looking towards Poby to try and get to that late game point. But you're up against the Zeri, you're up against the Ziggs. These are not exactly champions that fall off.
I mean, Myrwn, he's the Elden Lord, he's Thanos, he's every final boss combined. Fnatic are gonna need all 5 members, I think, to even put a scratch on him. And that doesn't even take into account that you've got a Zeri with 2 items completed, Jojo in the mid lane doing the same thing. It's all blue in the bot side of your screen, as KOI is the driving force here in Game 3.
Yeah, the scaling AP threat and 3 AD versus double armor Cassante. Oh, holy yikes. Who is going to kill the tank? It's a very good question posed by you. In this game, I mean, for MKOI, I feel like to get to this point, after almost falling to Fnatic in the first round, after falling to G2, which looked like a massive gap, the preparation for today has to be commended. The preparation for today has been exceptional. As Alvaro also back on form, Satchel Charge, beautiful. Mikyx is going to exhaust, but he's in trouble, half HP. Stand behind me, Poby gives him a way out, but MKOI might not be done yet, as continuously fishing, still looking for something.
But if Jojo is getting this pressure with Alvaro, what hope do you have of an Anakan that's now just about to spawn on the bottom side? Or sorry, on the top side. Like, this is just so much control from MKOI, and as long as they can poke and push people back, they get their value.
Mikyx, ulti, max range hits, connects, Winter's Bite turns into concussive blows. Jojo, 2 autos to go. He'll get stunned up. Double redemption, Mega Inferno Bomb misses. Winter's Bite does nothing this time. Oscarinin TP. There's another one though. Raid Boss is coming. Raid Boss is coming. Stretch line doesn't connect, but Myrwn has arrived. As you said, Anakan just spawned, and Fnatic are on the back foot again.
I mean, that was a really nice disengage that we saw come through from Jojo and Alvaro. Mikyx with a super creative engage, put a lot of pressure down, got the flash out from Jojo, which could become a big factor in the upcoming fight. Right now, Oscar just doesn't want to cede full control around this topside river, but Supa being left exposed means that he will just pick up this mid-tier 2. Razork working with Poby, but they're not going to be able to lock him down.
Beautiful side.
But you talked about it earlier, like, Fnatic want to fight. And Vedi, how do they start a fight?
That's a great question.
They just don't have ways to find engage. They don't really have ways to threaten a Jojopyun with no flash. The reason Mikyx had to get creative is it's the only bloody way they can find anything. So for MKOI, it feels like at this stage, the composition is stronger, they're stronger, and they're only getting better as they become more and more online.
We only said MKOI have to be patient, which historically would be something too hard to ask. But today they've shown it. Game 1 and now, they can be really patient with these drafts, and it was their weakness now turned into an obvious strength. I just talked about the single work they've done throughout this tournament, to use your phrasing, Vedi. And again, it's impressive. 4.5k gold lead. Dragons up in 2 minutes. Ignore that. That Anakan top still seems to be something we might end up focusing around. For now, though, MKOI getting a little bit frisky down in the bottom lane, seeing if they can find Razork. But he too backs off, and in time, Poby gets back to base.
Okay, so Dragon and Anakan. These are the 2 objectives that both teams will be thinking about in the near future. You can tell that the pace is definitely slowed down as Fnatic realize that there's very little that they can look to try and force on the map right now. KOI are happy to just continue to scale up. BF sword now picked up for Supa. Means that he is getting much closer to what we expect to be the Infinity Edge. And I'm thinking of what options Fnatic have. A flank from Razork, a nice ulti from Mikyx, an overextension from KOI, a potential pick onto a member.
Here we go.
But KOI not going to waste any time. They're going to start the objective. And I mean, I think Fnatic might just have to give this one up.
Myrwn is going to start zone controlling. He's got to flip back. Oscarinin dredge line, great. Again, the flip back there. The path maker into range of the whole team. And Oscar has to flash out. yeah, Fnatic say we'll just get bot turret. What else can we do? Atakan achieved. And this game feels like it's soon to be coming to a close.
Yeah, you can't even try and contest. They're just hoping that Poby can be some sort of win condition. The scaling can potentially be there, but
oh my god, on the edge of Vision, Oscarinin gets nuked, gets Thunderdomed. Fnatic for the turret, it's not going to be a clean trade at all.
Now, Oscarinin goes down, but it may be more as Mikyx has to try and escape, manages to get away, but honestly now, Elyoya, no flash, no ults for the next dragon. TP, I think, should be up for Oscarinin just beforehand. Maybe a window for Fnatic, but it's a very, very small one. Razork.
Okay, the flank's nice. Flashes doesn't do much to Jojo though, but the culling into the corner gets the shutdown. Now something onto the tanky Cassandre, but Myrwn's going to take a while to die. The all-out over the wall. Razork has no ulti to buy time. Myrwn again, a problem, gets the flip on all Pathmakers in, and the raid boss stands tall. Flash again onto Upset. He's just out of range. It'll simply be a double for Upset. But Myrwn refuses to die.
The collapse from KOI was so swift as how 4 members quickly convened on the top side of the map to help get KOI out of this situation. A beautiful engage from Razork locks up Jojo, giving him no avenue of escape. And Fnatic, as they rightly should, feel like this is their big moment. But Alvaro on the right-hand side, Supa from the south, he gets chain CC'd by Mikyx. He's forced to flash away, but it doesn't matter because from over the wall, he's still able to dish out the damage. Alvaro with a great ulti, limiting the options for Fnatic, mean that another fight is won for KOI.
There's just no one, as you say, can kill Myrwn. That man just stood in that front line the entire time, and while Supa was dealing damage, Myrwn was almost dishing out just as much, and I think at this stage, that's the crux of the problem here for Fnatic. They killed the mid laner, and they just can't get through the rest of the lineup. And now it's MKOI picking up more, Fnatic trying to teeter more of that gold into Poby, but I just don't think it's enough.
What shocks me is that somehow, through this carnage, Poby is still 0-0-0. He's just been sitting most of this game in a side lane.
Yeah.
And again, I hate to come back to it, but this comp from Fnatic, I just don't really see how it comes together and works. KOI seems to have such a fluid idea, and of course, Cassandre getting a double kill helps. The draft really doesn't matter when things like that happen in the game.
Yeah.
But in terms of the comeback options, Fnatic feels super limited. Jojo gonna bounce his way to safety. But yeah, Baron now, a card that I think KOI should just force.
Yeah,
I think they're so much stronger that even if Fnatic do come to contest, you just turn and you should win the fight.
I think Myrwn and Supa alone could win that fight. I don't even think they need anyone else, to be perfectly honest. Like 3 items on towards Supa, the Myrwn is just unkillable. And as you say, like, the game plan from Fnatic has been, let's try and feed Poby all this gold in the side lane. Now they got to see if it can pay off, but he's just shy on having that magic pen item fully completed. And now Fnatic's hands are being called.
Dredge line narrowly missing onto Mikyx. MKOI so confident in this side of the jungle, looking for yet another pick. Elyoya's in. Doesn't pull off the Cataclysm yet, though. Supa's also alongside him, almost level 16 on this Zeri. Half the way to go, and you see Myrwn stands his ground. He's now got a caning Rookern, so Poby affects him a lot less. Baron sits up, but MKOI, the name of this game has been not to rush. They continue to show us how.
But the problem you just saw is that Poby hit Myrwn and didn't do very much. Yep. So I think that's basically where the issue is going to stem from. Now we get Supa and Myrwn collapsing onto Oscarinin in the bottom side. Can he get out of here?
Going to back in place, not seen by the ward. Supa comes in over the wall, stops it now. A Maiden is not going to make it a fair fight, even if this was Supa by himself. The damage is too much. An easy kill picked up. And for the turret, they had to do what they could.
And there's no cross-map play available for Fnatic. They're all on the topside jungle, but Jojo alone was sitting in the river with good vision control. And if Fnatic had decided to start it, Jojo would have just torn them to pieces. Supa going to steal away these camps as well. Fnatic being denied everything as KOI. I mean, they've had a firm grip on this game for a while now, but it feels like that it's just moments away from the final nail being planted into the coffin, and MKOI looking to take match point.
They'd get a rematch against G2 from the upper bracket. They'd get a rematch against G2, who they beat down in spring to go as the first seed at MSI. It's been a fun little rivalry this year, at least in the later portion. feel like these players, I mean, consistently in stepping up to the plate.
I think it's also like such a shining difference from spring. Like a lot of question marks were around MKOI coming into spring, even the playoffs, saying, hey, look, it hasn't been as clean. They have been able to solidify that team play. But this playoffs, this split from MKOI has been a very different story. It has been clean, it has been aggressive, it has been fast-paced, and it is a struggle for teams to keep up. And now with Supa in such a strong position, this is MKOI's house, this is MKOI's territory where they feel confident, and it's Fnatic who have to tread carefully.
KOI do still sometimes make those individual mistakes, and Fnatic, I mean, they're kind of relying on those mistakes right now. KOI, though, they don't appear to be... Okay, this could be it right here. Supa gonna remove the blast cone, get away to safety. But yeah, right now, KOI are playing it patient, they're playing it clean. Again, I do think that they should be forcing a little bit more with the advantage
like
that they do have. Because the longer the game goes, you're just giving Fnatic more items, and you just... It might not feel like much, but the later a game goes, the more meaningless the goal difference becomes.
Of course, yeah.
So, right now, KOI, of course, still firmly so much stronger than Fnatic.
Yeah, I think it's things like the Lord Dominic's Regard being completed, but Oscarinin.
Oh, here we go again. Look at the path making true damage. Oscar with the maiden can't do anything, flushes away, but Jojo's here to dunk down and take the rewards. Oscar 0-6. And to be fair, he has been bullied this game again.
Yeah, but overextended a TP behind, and that may have been the mistake that MKOI were waiting for to really start to put this nail in the coffin. Again, though, like you're getting that push on the bottom side. Fnatic still unsure as to exactly what MKOI's plan of attack here is. But the resets coming through, I mean, MKOI would get it tier 2, but I thought that'd be the signal to all hands on deck. We're going for the juggler.
By connects, Culling comes through, Jojo flashes away. Culling also escaped from a minefield placed out, but it's going to be sold, claimed regardless. Flashes don't matter when they're engaged, it's simply a Braum. MKOI, the nails continue piling up. It's Elder next. If Fnatic can get a flip there, sure, but now it might open the window to Baron as Oscar is respawning, but might have to TP in.
And with the soul secured, I think, yep, definitely the safe approach. KOI, I'd really love to see them force the Baron. They talk a lot about wanting to increase the pace of the game, and with the position that they're in, with the soul at their backs as well, like you thought that Myrwn was hard to kill before, it's objectively only gotten harder now that he has a soul.
Oh, wait a second.
Okay, that's ambitious onto Alvaro. He flashes away, but remember, Myrwn is here. Tanks up, doesn't have the all out, but it's going to take a while to die. He does flash. I don't know if that guy had to flash there. I think Myrwn was fine, but hey, he's the pro player, I'm not.
Yeah, I think if it was anyone else, Fnatic, that play might have worked out. But Myrwn is not really losing help off the back of that. I was about to say, you know, upset he's got his IE now. Maybe he can do some work,
Jojo.
but...
Face checking, Mickey flashes in, gets the exhaust. Jojo gets down with the snap charge, Mega Inferno Bomb does damage. Oscar here with the main, but Myrwn shows up and they say no. Mickey takes a wild chunk from Elyoya, who gets Cataclysm over the wall. Culling at melee range, Elyoya manages to get out of Supa. Joins in as well. Poby now there with the Chaos Storm, but on top of himself, doesn't do too much. They were fearing the dive, the jumpers. Meanwhile, another target found. Myrwn brings him in to get kissed by the whole MKOI lineup.
That should be everything that KOI need to secure this Baron and close this game out. You could see how close that actually was for Fnatic in terms of the damage that they were outputting. But the difference maker being Myrwn acting as this wall of protection. Jojo face checks a brush that he had no right checking, quickly throws the ultimate down, but as we've seen so many times, the reaction from KOI is swift and ruthless. Supa arrives, forces Upset out of the fight. Poby flashes in to try and get a kill onto Supa, but he doesn't have the damage, and Myrwn just, I mean, single-handedly bringing Razork to his own demise. Baron secured. KOI looking to take match point.
And now from 5 to 8 to 9 almost. Yeah, there it is. Like MKOI finally found the trigger that they needed. We were, you know, quantifying like when is it finally going to happen. Mickey face checking. Oh no! The wall centered his own team. And Supa gets a freebie.
It was Fnatic who managed to step up yesterday against KC and find themselves here. But in spring, it was MKOI who destroyed KC and went on to beat G2 in that final. And MKOI are looking to send themselves once more into that fight against G2.
And as your headphones are obviously breaking, your eardrums are now bleeding, as Cowman lifts up the cowbell, it is signaling the death knell. Alvaro is going to get out of the culling, but MKOI going to move to match point. It's now just dotting the I's, crossing the T's with this Baron in 3 lanes as Jojo resumes top. Flash from Razork misses the engage. Bit of a whiff, but finally onto Elyoya. They're going to get him into GA. That's nice, but look at the damage and response. Myrwn here on the side to GA. Will it be punished? No. Myrwn keeps him in place in the Thunderdome for the time being. Myrwn not stunned up. He gets a shield, gets to an ally. Cowstorm does his damage. Stretch line in again. Another good engage. A double for Supa off the wing. A third goes down. MKOI the victory march to try and get this series tied up.
Fnatic tried everything to get the early lead, but it was Alvaro's hook, it was Elyoya in position, it was MKOI fighting back, and now they will push forward to match point.
This Madrid win rate is getting extreme. This series win rate is unbelievable, and Movistar KOI are 1 win away from playing a summer final in front of their home crowd.
Smiles on the faces of Elyoya as he's happy with the team's performance. Strong stuff from KOI. It was a little bit touch and go at times, but they end up closing things out.
Law, take it away.